Hey, in this video we're going to be going over some logic. Now I'm going to be going over the function I showed you in the Homework 2 overview. If you haven't watched that, make sure to watch it before we're doing the homework. It should describe how the homework's set up and what's expected of you. Now for this function, what we did is essentially we tried to determine whether or not you were a Scorpio given a month, or the number of the month, and a day of that month. So let's go ahead and set up the same function. So def are you a Scorpio, and I need a month and I need a day. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to say Scorpio, let's just make you equal to false. And in the function in the homework, I believe I updated Scorpio to be false. You don't have to. You could simply look for the true values of it. And I'll show you what I mean here by making this function a little different. So if 10, so we're asking if the month is October, or if it is November. So this is going to be logic. It has to be October or November. Oh, let's go ahead and define our month so we can play around with these things in here. So we're going to say our month, let's say it's October. And we'll say our day is equal to the 25th. So this person should be a Scorpio by the time we're done. So first we'll check. Okay, good. The month is either the 10th, or it's rather between the 10th and the 11th. Excellent. So if the month is the 10th, we need to check, were they born on or after the 23rd? If they were born before that, they're not a Scorpio. So if the month is the 10th, and we'll evaluate this, and this will be a true statement. So this is equivalent to saying if true. And here we're going to say, well, if the day is greater than or equal to the 23rd, then Scorpio is true. Otherwise, it's not true, so we don't need to update it because it already has the value of false here. So in the other example, essentially I just added extra code. It doesn't do much because we already have a value for Scorpio that's false. So I can get rid of this since we don't need to explicitly trigger this since it's already been defined here. Okay, so if the month is the 10th, if the day is greater than the 23rd, Scorpio is true. Now, if the month is the 11th, if the day is less than or equal to the 21st, then Scorpio is true. Scorpio. Now, if it's greater than the 21st, it's false. And Scorpio starts by false, so we don't need to update it. And then finally what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say if Scorpio, so if Scorpio has a value equal to true, so if it's gone through this set of logic and ends here, we will run this next line and we'll print off you are a Scorpio. If it's false, we will print off you are not a Scorpio. So let's go ahead and run through this after we make sure that the function behaves how we expect. So let's go ahead and give a day a month. Let's start with the 22nd, so I should not be a Scorpio because the 22 is just less than 23. You are not a Scorpio. Let's move up to the day where I should become a Scorpio. You are a Scorpio, and then let's look at this next part of the edge case, make sure everything in between works. Awesome. Now if we go to November and I run the 24th, that is greater than the 21st, so again, I should not be a Scorpio. If I go to the 21st, I am a Scorpio, and this should go right inside just to double check. Great. So the function works as we expect, and it can successfully identify Scorpios, and we'll even go to a month like January. Make sure, okay, great. So let's walk through one more time. Now, if you've seen enough, you go ahead and exit this video, but for those of you who are learning about logic, let's go through this one more time. So Scorpio is a variable which is assigned the Boolean value false. So I'm going to ask if something in here evaluates to true. So if we run this, right now month is set at 1, so it's going to be false. So if it's false, it skips this entire block and moves on to, so it's tabbed over here. So once it's tabbed back on the same line as the if is where it'll start up. So it's going to start up here. So if this is false, essentially skip it. And Scorpio is false. So if Scorpio is false, we're going to run this one. So if it's not between the 10th and 11th, it goes essentially straight here. Now if it is true, so if month is equal to 10, this evaluates to true, And so it's going to jump into the if statement. And so everything tabbed over once lives in this if statement. So the next thing in this if statement is line 6, and it's going to say if month equals to 10, and we'll evaluate that, and it says true. So if true, it's going to jump into this if statement, and it's going to say if day greater than 23. So we'll evaluate this, and it's false because day has a value of 20. So 20 is less than 23, so this does not activate. And so nothing happens. We went through here, we went to here, we went to here, but we were unable to run this line. So Scorpio is still false. It hasn't updated to a true value. So once we finish this if statement, we're still in this outer if statement, so we'll step down to the next one. So if month is equal to 11, we get a false here. And so the rest of this is not going to run. So we finished this line and this line within this if statement. So we'll exit the if statement and move on. We'll go to line 13, and if Scorpio, and Scorpio would be defined as false here, since it was not updated to true and it was not updated to true. So since Scorpio is false, it's going to say if Scorpio. It's not going to be able to enter this if statement. And this else is connected to it. So if it's true, it runs this. Otherwise, or else, it runs this. And so that's why 1020 is going to get us a you are not a Scorpio statement. You are not a Scorpio. So that's it for my explanation of logic in Python and looking at a function that uses a lot of it. This was a little bit more complex than a lot of problems, but if you can understand this, you should be able to get through any homework that has logic statements in it. Good luck.